Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back friends, and we will continue with some exercises related to your vocabulary development and building. So, remember that building vocabulary for competitive exams does not merely constitute getting acquainted with new words and their meanings. You have to learn the appropriate usage also in terms of usage in various sentences and contexts. Now, sometimes words that we use as nouns on a daily basis can be found being used as a verb. Okay, so, changing the class of the word. For instance, hatch, racket, bolt. We are familiar with plastic bottles, plastic surgeries, plastic expressions. Now, all these things can be used in different contexts. Plastic surgery, we know plastic, but then there could be plasticity of something. Okay, so, then you have to understand that in what context is being used. Sentence completion, that is the exercise that we are going to do, and it is a good way to learn different uses of words. So, let us look at the first slide, first exercise. Pay attention to the slide please. According to the poll, the students at this university dash cognitive enhancing drugs more than students at any other university in the country. Mediate, overindulge, abuse, cough, squander. What should be the answer? Now, the best answer here is abuse. We often use the, see this is like a collocation, we use the word drugs in relation to abuse. Okay? We can eliminate A because mediate does not fit. Squander means to waste, and it does, it sounds like that it can fit, but it really wouldn't. We do not say squander cognitive in enhancing drugs. Okay. Cough means to drink excessively, and sentence is talking about drugs. So, between overindulge and abuse, the abuse is more suited term for describing cognitive enhancing drugs. Okay. Remember, between abuse and squander, we know that the better choice is abuse, because you tend to squander money or talent, but you abuse drugs. Look at the second exercise. The paper established that the whole problem of weight lies in regulation of the inflow and outflow of calories, thus undermining dash the generally held theory that obesity is the result of some fundamental fault. So, thus undermining conclusively, exclusively, terminally, separately, dolefully. You should, if you do not know the meanings of some of these words, please look them up. The best answer is conclusively. Now, terminally means incurably or unalterably. You say terminally ill patient, while dolefully means sorrowfully. It does not fit. We can say that these two options do not fit, and we will go on to the next few options. Separate means not together, which does not make much sense in the context of the given sentence, and if we put that one away from now, conclusively means proving something without allowing for doubt or confusion, while exclusively means as the only source. In the context, both meanings can be applied, but we can say conclusively is the better option. So, or you have to use your judgments judiciously. Next exercise, please look at it, look at the question. This will allow us to transition from blundering through dash global changes to thoughtfully and deliberately controlling our effects on the planet, said the expert who presented the paper. Now, through retrospective global changes, enticing global changes, heterogeneous global changes, affable global changes, inadvertent global changes. what could be the best word. If you do not know any of these words, please consult your dictionaries, and the best choice here is inadvertent. The clue lies in the latter part of the question. The terms like deliberately and the use of from, to indicate that the missing word has to indicate something that is not deliberate as of now. Enticing means to seduce, attract, or interest something, does not fit. Retrospective means looking back, connecting something that happened in the past. In retrospection, I should not have done that. Retrospectively, I could have handled it better. Affable indicates friendliness, which we may not blunder through. Heterogeneous cannot be ruled out until we look at the other option, which is inadvertent, which means unintentional. We have more chances of blundering through inadvertent global changes than heterogeneous global changes. So, the best choice is inadvertent. Let us move on to the next slide. Regret that I could not have the pleasure of meeting Mr. Paulo and the rest of the dash to be then and there assembled was of course immediately expressed. My mind became restless and dash I felt amidst all these invitations cruelly neglected. They served indeed but to increase my uneasiness as they opened dash of happiness in which I could take no share. Look at the sets carefully. Fracas, literati, precursors, quiescent, agitated, satiated, splice, tirade, prospects. The answer first one is literati. The blank can be easily filled if you are well acquainted with the words given. Fracas means noisy quarrel, literati means literary intelligentsia, and precursor is something that precedes. Since the author is talking about meeting, the answer can only be the word that indicates person or a group of people. Answer for the second blank is agitated. Negative feelings are expressed in the rest of the sentence. Also observe the use of restless, which indicates a similar word to fill in the blanks, and quiescent means not active and satiated means satisfied. We have done that. The other day we were talking about sate, S-A-T-E, satiate. Okay. Neither of which applies to the given situation. Agitated is the best choice, and the third response is prospect. So, even if you do not know the meanings of rest of the words, let us see how prospect fits in. If we are familiar with most of the words, it is occasionally possible for us to eliminate the less likely options. Now, remember, splice is a verb that means join the ends of something. The answer need not necessarily be a verb, because opened comes just before the blank. So, let us look at the other options. Tirade is a speech, you know, she launched a tirade against drug addiction or drug abuse. So, a speech of denunciation. The other day we did a word like denounce, right? Decry, denounce. Even if we do not know the exact meaning of tirade, it is commonly found to be used in places expressing anger, and the term happiness is mentioned in the sentence. Hence, we can conclude that the answer can be prospects. The meaning of prospects is the possibilities of future success. This is the most appropriate answer from among the given choices. Let us look at the next question. We lose our innocence by becoming dash of how we are behaving on a planetary scale in space and time, and that knowledge into our actions. Look at the choices: tractable, unstinting, cognizant, integrating, undermining, transgressing, and the answer is first cognizant. Tractable means easily managed, unstinting means very generous. Neither of them indicate losing in innocence as much as cognizant, which means having knowledge. Hence, cognizant seems to be the most fitting choice. And second word is integrating. Undermining means hindering normal operations. Transgressing means disregarding rules or laws or boundaries. Neither fits when talking about knowledge and actions. Hence, integrating is the answer. Integrating means incorporating. Let us look at the next choice. Here was a scene of dash and clamour in the personage as the presents were pulled out and discussed, and when all possible joy was dashed from them in the sitting room, the children rushed in a body into the kitchen and showed them to Nabby, calling on her to join their acclamations. Sets exultation, noise, racket, inured, procured, substantiated. You have to choose any two words. Answer is first word exultation. Now, it is talking about opening presents, noise and its synonym. Racket seems less fitting than exultation, which means feeling of extreme joy. Remember, if exultation was not among the given words, then other two words would have had a chance to becoming the better choice to fill the blank. And the second word is procured. Inured means made tough by habitual exposure, and substantiated means strengthened. Procured means get by special effort. And again, speaking about joy and presence, procured seems more fitting word than the other two choices. Next set. Let the reader, if he possess the imagination of Milton, dash my sensations. So, conceive my sensations, sanction my sensations, supplant my sensations, console or condone my sensations. The best is conceive. Condone means pardon, we have seen this word. Console means to give moral or emotional strength to somebody or something, and supplant means take the place of. He supplanted her from the position of something. So, taking the place of. Sanction means give authority to. This has been sanctioned, loan has been sanctioned, this ordinance has been sanctioned. So, conceive means have the idea or judge, and this is a comparatively difficult question. Remember that even if one knows the meaning of all the words. So, we have to look for clues in this very short sentence. The clue is imagination. So, while at the first glance it may seem that any of these words might fit, the best choice is the word that is most similar to imagination, hence conceive. Next slide, look at this. Cultures can shift and leave a vacuum of dash desires and questions that drugs are often able to fill. Congruent desires, inopportune desires, unresolved desires, unfeigned desire, urbane desires, and the best answer is unresolved desires. Again, there are multiple choices that seem to fit in, therefore, it is a little difficult question. Congruent means in harmony, corresponding in character. Inopportune means untimely. Okay? It was a very inopportune moment to bring up the question. Unresolved means not brought to conclusion, and congruent means corresponding in character, as we have already seen. Unfeigned means sincerely felt or expressed, and urbane means refined and polished. Though most of these seem to fit, we need to see which one is the best word here, best suited word here. So, drugs are filling a vacuum, unresolved seems to be the best choice. Let us look at the next line. Did I tell you that the dash of the weather and the heat of the intolerable furnaces dry the hair and break the nails of strangers? Severity of the weather, tiff of the weather, tedium of the weather, torpor of the weather, scrutiny of the weather. The best choice is severity. It collocates well. Severity means something hard to endure. Tiff is a quarrel about petty points. Tedium means dullness owing to length or slowness. Torpor means inactivity resulting from lethargy and lack of vigor or energy. And scrutiny means the act of examining something closely. Since the passage is talking about weather, that too in metaphorical sense, tiff, torpor, tedium and scrutiny do not apply. Hence, severity is the right option. Next slide. We now know how to prevent the spread of infectious diseases, a comforting thought in a world in which antibiotics are beginning to lose their reproof, reparation, spontaneity, invincibility, supposition. The best word is invincibility. Reproof means an act or expression of criticism, and censor. We have seen the word censor and This is the word I mean. So, reproof is an act of censure. Reparation means compensation for an insult or injury, and spontaneity means quality of being spontaneous, coming from natural feelings without constraint or too much of preparation. Invincibility means the property being difficult or impossible to defeat, and supposition means a hypothesis that is taken for granted. The passage is talking about losing ability of something to prevent something, antibiotics. So, invincibility, the supposedly lack of defeat, which is impossible to defeat. Okay. So, it is no longer the situation that antibiotics are invincible in today's world. Invincibility seems to be the most fitting of all choices. Let us look at the next slide. According to the author, American neoclassical architecture, the dash of state buildings was a great self-deception. Idolatry of state buildings, iconoclasm of state buildings, iconography of state buildings, idiosyncrasy of state buildings, lexicography of state buildings. The best answer, iconography. Iconography means the images and symbolic representations that are traditionally associated with a person or a subject. Iconoclastic means characterized by attack on established beliefs or institutions. Idiosyncrasy is a behavioral attribute that is distinctive and peculiar to an individual. Idolatry and lexicography can be eliminated first, because the former means the worship of idols, while latter is the act of writing dictionaries. Since we are talking about building here, iconography suits best, which means images and symbolic representations that are traditionally associated with a person or subject. Let us move on to the next slide. Please look at the question here. The second treatise of government by Locke suggests that contract rather than divine right was the only dash basis of government. Impassive basis, legitimate basis, iconoclast basis, implacable basis, incipient basis, and the best choice is legitimate. Impassive means having or revealing little emotion or sensibility. Legitimate is in accordance with the recognized law or practices or standards or principles. Okay, you know that iconoclast, we have talked about it already. What is iconoclastic? Which means someone who breaks the accepted traditions and notions, and implacable means incapable of being placated. Incipient means imperfectly formed. The passage is about government, so we are looking for a word that can be applied to government. So, legitimacy is the best response here. Next slide please. They realize that the act of thinking about important matters has dash value, the journey is the goal. Now, insipid value, inherent value, inimical value, intrepid value, innocuous value. The best answer is inherent value. Insipid means lacking taste or flavor. Inherent means existing as an essential constituent of characteristic. Inimical means unfriendly. Intrepid means quite bold, and innocuous means harmless. The clue is the second sentence, the journey is the goal. Now, we need to look at the words and we have to see which word fits best here. Inherent value, something which is intrinsic to it, basic to it. So, thank you very much. We will continue with similar exercises in our next class also.